with Manchester United looking at the barrel of defeats. Within the last 10 minutes, we actually got to pull something back and we could have potentially even won the game. Unfortunately, not to be. What's up, everybody? It's Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a Manchester United match reaction against the Tottenham Hotspurs. It ended, for you guys who don't know, as a 1-1 draw, and there's a lot to talk about, especially with how we played. There's a lot to discuss, a lot of positives, but definitely some negatives as well. So before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. The goal is 60 subscribers. We are 57 at the moment of recording, and this video will probably get up straight away. Not real much editing that's going to happen here. This is basic, real reaction. No music, nothing. We're going straight to what needs to be done, and that is going to be Manchester United. So, how did I think we played? Honestly, I think we did play fairly well. I think Manchester United were definitely the better team, but there are big problems lying within Manchester United that need to be addressed. So we'll get onto the positives. Obviously, Manchester United holding onto the ball possession is a positive, but obviously Spurs wanted that to be a positive for Manchester United. But still, creating meaningful chances seems to be an issue, even with Bruno Fernandes in the side, which is something that got rectified a little bit with Paul Pogba. Yes, we had the Martial chance, we had a few chances with Rashford, but nothing too meaningful at the end. And our goal came from a penalty at the end of the day. So those chances, even if we made them, were not tucked away. So that's a big concern for Manchester United going forward. Yes, Spurs parked the bus. We're not going to face many teams that are going to do it like the way the Spurs did it. But it's still a meaningful concern for the rest of the games going forward. We have to break teams down better. Otherwise, we will not make the top four. It's as simple as that. If we can't break down smaller teams, and I'm considering Spurs as a smaller team because they didn't even have a centre-back playing a centre-back. I had Eric Dyer a centre-back. He's not a centre-back. So we need to break down these teams and we need to score. And to be honest, I'm surprised we lost this game. We drew this game today, honestly. I'm genuinely surprised. Because I genuinely thought we were so much better than them, it was beyond belief. But this is what Jose Mourinho does at the end of the day. His team will look terrible for the whole game, but they're going to get a draw because with no fans there, they're going to park the bus, and they're going to park the bus well. And it kind of makes me sad to see, because not necessarily because the Spurs did it, it's because that we used to be that team. I can imagine a Spurs fan watching this game and thinking, what a disgusting performance. Even if they got the draw, they're probably happy with the draw. As Man United fans are probably going to be happy with the draw, considering this is our toughest fixture. But they must really, really hated that performance. And that's not a nice return to the Premier League. But regardless, I did think we played well, and I thought if there was anybody that was going to win this game, if this game went on for 10 minutes longer, we probably would have got the result. And we nearly did with the second penalty call that obviously got disallowed, rightfully so, nowhere near a penalty. Anyway, let's go into the Manchester United ratings, and then I will give my positives and negatives on every player. And yeah, so obviously first off, we're going to start with David De Gea. Very, very big one, this one, because he kept us in the game, but he also was a big fault for that goal. Very big fault for that goal. So I'm going to give him an average 6. Now, this might be controversial for some people because at the end of the day, he's the reason that we got the draw. He could have saved that shot Bergwijn took. He could have saved it, but he didn't save it, and that's the big issue here. But he did amazing saves after that to keep us in the game, which is exactly what we needed. And I feel like this has been an ongoing theme for David De Gea. He can make a mistake, and then he has to make up for it with world-class saves. And I'm not sure why that is, but it can't keep happening. So I think 6 is fair for David De Gea. If not, let me know. I genuinely think 6 is fair. And I think majority of this team will probably get a 6 or above. So I don't think anybody had a terrible, terrible game, except for one person, which we'll get into. Going into the right-back position, Wan Bissaka. Wan Bissaka will probably get a 6 as well. To be honest, I didn't see Wan Bissaka at all this game. No one attacked his side, really. And every time they did, obviously, he was there to do his job. But he was not an offensive threat whatsoever, besides 2 crosses that I really noticed from him that really made an impact. One was a cross that nearly, I think Rashford got on the end of. Another one was to Ighalo, who unfortunately couldn't get there, or he ducked. Whichever one you want to pick, that's what happens. So for Wan Bissaka, it's not the best performance from him. But obviously, coming back, it's like a lot of these players, I'm not going to give them too much heat for having a terrible game or a bad game or just an average game. At the end of the day, things happen, man. And we're all coming back and we're all dealing with this lockdown in a different way. So it's going to take time for these teams to adjust. It took time for the Bundesliga. It's going to take time here. And we're going to have to accept this result from that and performances as well. So going into Victor Lindelof, I didn't really notice Victor Lindelof, but I feel like I have to give him a 6 as well, because our centre-backs had nothing to do really. And actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to give Victor Lindelof a 7, because there's something I need to say on the next player. But Victor Lindelof, I didn't notice him at all. I don't really think he did anything. He wasn't really at fault for the goal, but he was just a good, decent player today. He made some good passes from the back. He defended well. He cleared some headers from the corners. He did his job today. He got subbed off early. Hopefully everything's all right with that. We do not need another centre-back injured. But yeah, I'm happy with Lindelof's performance today. The weak link that we supposed Victor Lindelof was supposed to be in this game ended up turning to be one of our biggest strengths in defence. And vice versa for Harry Maguire, who I'm going to give a 5. Now, I don't want to be mean to Harry Maguire, but I think that maybe it's the CDM's fault as well. There's a lot of people that fall for that goal, but Harry Maguire was turned way too easily. Way too easily. And for a centre-back who maybe doesn't have the speed, but has the positioning on lock, like he's in the right position, he got turned way too easily. And maybe I think that's one of his biggest weaknesses, is it not? I feel like majority of the goals that Harry Maguire is at fault for is for that same reason. He's either outpaced or he gets turned easily. And I feel like it was both in this instance. And unfortunately, De Gea couldn't save him out of that one. But you can't tell me that's all De Gea's fault. Harry Maguire is a key aspect, as well as the CDMs, for that fault of the goal. No one picked up that man, and he just ran through us. And there's nothing we could do about that. Harry Maguire is not fast. People know this. A team knows this. They need to adjust to help cover his weaknesses. Just like any other team there is, you need to cover weaknesses that we have. And Harry Maguire's speed is a weakness. And unfortunately, it turned out to go against him. Other than that, I thought he was superb. But being at fault for the goal and not really having much else to do, you have to give him a 5. I don't think he did any better than a 5, to be honest. I might be a little bit harsh, but if the centre-backs actually had more defending to do, he might have gone a little bit higher from me. But they didn't do anything, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. Luke Shaw, I'm going to give Luke Shaw a 7. I thought Luke Shaw was probably the best defender today in the left-back position. He got forward a lot. He was a big threat from the forward. He stole the ball very high up on the pitch. He also got back as well. Nothing really came down his side. So, besides the goal, of course. But I thought he was very good today. And again, it just shows that maybe the left-back position is not a place we need to be looking at the moment in this transfer window, because we have fantastic players that are performing in that position. And Luke Shaw is he just keeps on killing it at the moment. And this is the Luke Shaw that everyone wants to see. Well, we're seeing what Luke Shaw can do. And maybe he's not the superstar left back that everybody thinks that we need, but he does the job well, man. And he does the job terrifically well. And I think he deserves more praise than he probably gets. A lot of Luke Shaw haters out there. But today, I don't think anybody could disagree. He was probably the best player on the pitch, on the defender's side at least. And attacking-wise, he also did his thing. So that's it, man. At the end of the day, that's it. Maybe better crosses into the box would be nice, but that's probably the only criticism I can give him. Going into the CDMs, we'll start off with McTominay. I'm going to give McTominay a 7. I thought McTominay was very good today. He did his job. He was a bully. He made sure that no one was going to get past him majority of the times. And I thought he was the best midfielder probably on the pitch today. So that's very interesting. Bruno was on the pitch, so saying that about McTominay, it's good to see. And I was surprised that he started today, because I thought Matic was a shoo-in to start. But I'm very happy that he did start. I don't think anybody hates McTominay. even on other teams. I don't think anybody hates McTominay. He's such an interesting story. People love him all around the world, really, and he's showing why, man. He's a very consistent, very reliable player. And Manchester United need some of those. We don't need the players that can create opportunities left, right, and centre. We're already trying to purchase and invest in talent that can do that. But sometimes we just need a player that can just do the simple things to perfection. And we're getting that out of Scott McTominay. Plus, of course, he can create things when he needs to. And he's a good shot on goal. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any of that today. But yeah, he was probably the best midfielder out there today. Fred, I'm giving Fred a 6. I think Fred was almost at fault for the goal. I feel like he wasn't in the right position in the first place. He went to attack the ball, and it kind of cost him because Bergwijn went from behind and took that position that Fred should have been in. And maybe that's just me not really understanding the game, but at the end of the day, Fred should have been in that position, and if Fred was in that position, that goal wouldn't have went in. So, in my eyes, I think Fred is partly at fault for the goal, and therefore he gets a 6. Not as much as a fault for the goal for Harry Maguire or David De Gea, but there is a place for Fred where you could say that's his position, he should be there. If he's not there, then of course there's going to be someone that's going to come in from behind and go and attack the defenders. So Fred is a very good part of that goal that Tottenham scored. And at the end of the day, if nothing else happens, we have to give him a low score. I thought Fred, besides that, was just like Fred usually is. Passes the ball, a few turnovers, but of course rustiness. That's normal. But I'm not sure if he's made a claim for that starting spot, because when Pogba came in, things changed. Things changed dramatically. On to Bruno. I'm going to give Bruno a 7 as well. I don't think he was better than McTominay, but I think 7's a fair score for Bruno. Turned the ball over a lot today. A lot. But again, this is what we expect when you create chances, especially when Spurs were 11 men deep. Basically, the entire team was back behind the halfway line. It's hard to keep the ball, and sometimes you need to create something out of nothing. And he got the penalty goal. I think 7's a fair score for Bruno, but I'd like to see a little bit better ball retention. But at the end of the day, when Spurs park the bus like that, you have to go for something. And it might not have been the right decision most of the time, but it's better than just keeping the ball, passing it back to the centre-backs the whole time, which is what we did for the majority of the game. We need to create things, and that's what Bruno was there to do. And I think he did fairly well in that. Just nothing came up. Tottenham, fair play, parked the bus, but they're defensively sound. And I think we expected that going into this game. Into the wingers. Dan James. I think Dan James gets an ordinary 6. Again, I felt like he was definitely crucial. He worked very hard. He did break the lines of defence a few times, but the delivery into the box was terrible from Dan James. And not only that, we didn't see enough of it. So even if Dan James did break the line of defence, either he gets tackled, which is a very big shame. Premier League really needs to look into protecting pacier players, or he just overhits the cross. Again, that cross to Rashford would have been perfect if he could just hit it on target, or even hit it low. He probably would have got something better. But either way, look, it's easy for me to say it watching it on a TV screen. It's not as easy doing it in real life. But these are quality players, and you expect them to do better. So at the end of the day, I think 6 is fair. He didn't do anything wrong. He worked very hard. And that's what Dan James is, man. He's a very hard-working, very high-ethic type player. And it's good to see. And I do think he was still vital for this game for the majority. But when Mason Greenwood came on, things changed again. We'll get to that later. On to Rashford. I think Rashford probably I think Rashford might get a 6. I think Rashford's 6 is fair. Look, with Rashford, it's an up and down type of situation for him in this game. He had a few shots on goal, but a lot of the time, he either outran the ball or he turned it over. Maybe the passes weren't perfect, but this was not the Rashford's return that we all expected. We all expected Rashford to come out guns blazing, and again, he's a very hard-working player. It just wasn't his night. And it wasn't many of our attackers' night. Again, returning to a very tough league against a very tough side, and expecting our team to be on it from minute one, even though we had a good performance tonight, it's very difficult. So I'm not going to give Rashford any stick. I'm not going to give Daniel James any stick. And Martial, I think Martial gets a 5, to be honest. I think For the most part, he was kind of like a Jesse Lingard out there. He just wasn't existent until he had 2 shots on target. And I'm not sure if that's his fault or Spurs neglected him out of the game, or even if he just wasn't aggressive enough to go and attack the ball. But we didn't see the best out of Martial tonight. But he had a very good shot on goal, and if that went in, we'd all be singing his praises. But at the moment, that goal didn't go in, and his praises shouldn't be sung. It's just the way that it is, unfortunately, for Martial. But a fantastic player, and even when he's not performing, he still managed to create probably the best opportunity that we had that night against Tottenham. So yeah, look, it's a 5. It's not easy for me to do that, of course, because Martial is one of my favorite players. But you just have to look at the game. You don't see much of him until those 2 goals. You don't see anything. He turns the ball over. The ball doesn't get to him. He overruns it. Sometimes he just lets it go past him. And when he does get the ball, he turns it over. It just wasn't a game for Martial to play, and I think it was rightfully subbed off. And that's the team at the moment. That's the team. That's the ratings. It's not really important, the ratings. I'm just happy to see football back, really. And again, shout out to Marcus Rashford for all the things he did for the children within England. Shout out to Manchester United and Tottenham for taking a knee tonight. Look, it's all about spreading awareness of these situations, these circumstances, and what it means to the world. And it's good to see that sports athletes are taking a stance and giving their voice, letting their voice be heard just as much as the rest of us. So it's important that people can give them their recognition, and it's important for athletes to support the causes going on in the real world, because unfortunately the real world is going through a very hard time at the moment, and it's been going through a hard time all year, really, but especially in this moment as well. Yeah, it's difficult. But again, the shirts, the taking the knee, it's very important, and especially when everybody on that field needs to be treated equally. And it's good to see that everybody's taking a stance on that, and I'm very happy to see that. But overall, what do I think about a 1-1 draw with Ollie? I'm going to give Ollie rating probably, I think Ollie would probably get a 7. Honestly, I think he picked a very good lineup to start the game. I thought we played very, very well. But we all expected Jose to park the bus. When Pogba came on, which is a very good substitution very early on, things changed, we changed, and we ended up getting a goal out of it. Pogba, at the end, he was the one that got the penalty. So, there you go. That's his quality there. A 1-1 draw is not the greatest result, I have to be honest, but it's not the worst either, because we keep Spurs at bay. They remain 8th. We remain 5th. We have a game played over Chelsea, so Chelsea could potentially... they're probably going to beat Aston Villa, realistically. But if they win, they will go further, which will suck. But we've kept Spurs at bay, and we've got Sheffield United next. And Sheffield United all of a sudden becomes a must-win game, because we need to make sure that we keep in this race. And Chelsea do have a hard schedule coming up. So this is not the worst result in the world. Losing would have been terrible, like drastically terrible. But a draw, at least we got something out of that game. It's probably the toughest game that we have, bar Leicester. We'll see. If we could beat Leicester, if we could beat the remaining games in this season, I truly think top 4 is definitely in our grasp. Leicester and Chelsea do have harder schedules than us at the moment, so it's just up to them. Again, I hate leaving it up to in their hands, but at the moment, it's in their hands. It's up to them whether they want to get to top 4 or not. And if they can, then we're just going to have to keep fighting and make sure we win, and hopefully one of them will slip up. And it'll probably be Leicester, but either way, we don't know, and we'll see. So that's what I think about the 1-1 draw, and that's about it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on, share the video in the playlist, and I'll see you guys in the next Manchester United preview against Sheffield United. FIFA gameplay coming later. I'm going to go to sleep. It's 8 o'clock now, probably. Man needs to sleep. Take care and peace.